Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in for this video. Today we're talking about the Kaz II, dubbed the Ghost Yacht. It was a 9.8 meter catamaran which was found uh, drifting about 88 nautical miles, 163 kilometers off of the northeast coast of Australia on the 20th of April 2007. The fate of the three-man crew remains unknown, and the mysterious circumstances in which they disappeared have been compared to that of the Mary Celeste in 1872. So the Kaz II had a three-man crew, all of whom were residents of Perth, Western Australia. A gorgeous city, by the way, with amazing beaches. I want to go someday. Derek Batten, who was 56, Peter and James Tunstead. Peter was 69 and James was 63. They were brothers. The three were relatively inexperienced sailors, but the skipper, Batten, had undertaken a sailing course and two extended trips on board the Kaz II around the Whitsunday Islands and Outer Reef. So, according to the Australian Maritime Safety Authority, the Kaz II departed from Airlie Beach on the 15th of April 2007 and was headed for Townsville, Queensland on the first leg of the journey that was to take it around northern Australia to Western Australia. The first indication that there was a problem came on the 18th of April when a helicopter reported seeing the Kaz II adrift in the vicinity of the Great Barrier Reef, and that her crew were potentially in distress. On the 20th of April, the maritime authorities caught up with the boat, which is like the Coast Guard, caught up with the boat and boarded her. They found that the three-man crew were missing, and the circumstances were described as strange. So the source of this information is from Wikipedia, so I would encourage you guys to have a look at it. I'll link it, but sometimes YouTube doesn't allow me to place links without some sort of weird verification, and I'm just not going to be giving them my personal information like that. So if you want more information, you can just Google Kaz II, and that should bring up a bunch of information. But I'll link another YouTube video, the video that I initially saw that sparked my interest in this case. So in this first spread, what I feel, so initially I was like, well, was Derek into some sort of like treasure hunting, into, seeking precious metals off the coast? Like, was he like a treasure hunter, one of those type of folks? And was he, just dealing in precious metals or something like that as a hobby? And then was this supposed to be like some sort of scouting trip for, ancient wrecks or something like that, looking for gold or something like that? So that was initially what I was thinking. But then, we have this in front of us. So I knew it had to be something scandalous that was happening, and not that they, that either of, or any of them, lacked integrity on any level, but for people to be taken, or for them to just disappear and then the boat was left, says to me that whoever took them was not after money, was not a pirate, because they would have took the yacht. This happened abruptly, so whoever came with brute and abrupt force, because their food was left where it was sitting. I mean, like coffee and food. It was like they were just interrupted in the middle of something, right? So the boat wasn't stolen. There's an indication that they were interrupted in their morning routine, and whatever interrupted them was so serious that they didn't come back to finish their meal. Okay, so that tells me that this was a big deal. So now, looking at these cards, so we have taken to Asia, we have the court order or court card, which to me sounds like it was somebody ordered their demise, or at least one person's demise, and saw it as saw it as a gift, or saw it as a relief or something positive, and they were going to gain something positive from it with the sudden wealth. So it would have been an advantage. So ordering the demise of somebody else was in someone else's best interest, right? So one of the guys, or all of them, I don't believe that they were all involved in something. I think there was just one person, allegedly, and I'm going to say that person was likely Derek. That was because this is what I'm getting. Like when I opened up the reading, he was the one that I was wondering was, oh, okay, maybe he's like into precious metals and he scavenges for them, or he's some sort of dealer in precious metals. It was only him and not the other two. So I think the other two were just along for the ride. So then we have my parents, wealthy individuals were involved. U.S. government agency was involved in my disappearance. White Caucasian. I come to my family. I come around my family, and I'm with my family and ancestors. So a couple of confirmations here that they are no longer in the physical realm. We have the coffin card, and then acknowledgement that they're with their ancestors, and that they do come around their family. Okay. Wealthy individuals were involved. So what this feels like to me is that something was owed to somebody who didn't give a damn about that beautiful boat, right? Because they would have took the boat. This was more personal. This was more directed. This was more focused. The issue was focused, and it wasn't like somebody that was just thirsty to just steal from them and that sort of thing. So this was like, something that was deeper than that. So up in the right corner, we have the vampire, Indian, and Hispanic card. Could this be indicating that vampire, as in these were hit people, or these were the people that were that were tasked with the recovery or abducting these folks? Because when you think of vampire, you think of sucking the life force out of somebody, or it's taking the life force, it's taking blood. So I'm thinking that these were the people who took them. I don't think they met their demise on that boat or in the ocean, because there would have been remnants. They would have been found, even though that water is shark infested. There still would have been something found, some indication. So with all that being said, I do believe that this is a case of foul play. And I believe that they were targeted, and I believe that they were actually followed, and that what happened to them was planned. And I believe that Derek may have allegedly have been threatened, like had been receiving threats, and this could be why he wanted to get away, and particularly get away with some friends. Because remember, he wasn't that experienced as a sailor, so maybe he felt that something was coming and he didn't want to be alone, or maybe he wanted to tell somebody what was going on. And he felt like, this trip would have best suited the opportunity to talk to these two other folks who were his friends. So let's get into the next spread. So this spread really speaks to me about revenge, somebody owing money or being in a sticky situation with money. So we'll start at the top. We got the Two of Swords, the Six of Pentacles, the reverse, and Two of Wands, reverse, Five of Swords, reverse, Seven of Cups. Then we have King of Swords, the Fool card, Seven of Swords, and King of Pentacles, and Three of Swords. For the top row, that is a Five of Swords reverse. I feel like I said Seven of Swords reversed. Okay. Then we have the true crime cards on the bottom. It says that I was sold. This was no suicide. I didn't commit suicide. Yes, I am deceased. I am dead. I was recruited by an agency. To me, that's like the intelligence agency or something like that. I was harmed and consumed by a known animal, meaning, fed to animals. I was hunted on a private estate for sport. And yeah, so when I asked mentally, I said, was this about money owed? Did you steal money? Or something having to do with money not being paid back? And is this a legacy intelligence family situation. And what I mean by that is that in some families, some families that are in the intelligence agency, it is passed down the line, like with the Mossad or the CIA. You'll find like families of like generations of family members that are in these organizations. Okay, and so when I asked that, I got the yes, because I feel like something was taken. Like there was a betrayal, but it may not have been stolen because technically it may have already belonged to the person that took it, or their family, and they were just kind of like taking it back. Or I feel like there's something really intertwined about whatever this was that was owed, and whoever it was not entertained by being quote unquote stolen from. And that's why this was not like a piracy thing. This was not a petty thing. There was a direct, and this was very much personal. And I believe that they hired these guns, was indicated like the Indian and the Hispanic, probably a Filipino, because again, we're in the Pacific theater, or we're in the South Asian theater where all of this is happening or has happened. And so this is what I feel like has happened. So we're dealing with while the cards indicate difficult choices were made, felt like he was stuck in the middle. The Six of Pentacles normally indicates like generosity, charity, material help, giving and receiving. Bad planning, not taking action, or avoiding risks for the Two of Wands reversed. And then revenge, cutting losses for the Five of Swords reversed. Diversions and distractions for the Seven of Cups reverse. And then the bottom line just gives me, I stole from somebody I thought it was going to be, or I took from somebody and I feel liberated, and I'm doing what I had to do. And the King of Pence is like, oh yeah, and the King of Pence represents money, security, right? And then followed by the Three of Swords is like, well, you betrayed me, So that's why I say this is like intertwined, because when I go back to the Six of Pentacles, it's like, well, this money's kind of like mine already. You know what I mean? So I'm not really stealing from you. I'm reclaiming what's mine, or what belongs to my family. So that's why I say like this is like, it's really kind of layered. But I do feel like because the energy I'm getting from Derek is like, what are you talking about? I stole from you. I didn't steal anything from you. This was like, I didn't steal anything from you, but you're taking it this way and it's escalating, and now I'm getting threatened. So I feel like the person that was at a loss definitely feels like they were stolen from. And Derek is just like, well, this is like bloodline, like this is like a family heirloom, or this is like family business within my family, and you were just an associate. And this is where we get into like the intelligence and like these kinds of like group dynamics with like agencies and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely layered. So this is not black and white. And the thing about like, being harmed by, I think that they took them, right? So they removed them from the boat by force, brought them somewhere. In the first spread, it said taken to Asia. So they were brought somewhere, and where I believe there was a confrontation and the other men met their demise. Because I feel like this is all about Derek. This is all centered in and on Derek. So we have consumed by an animal. Then we have hunted, and the hunted thing I think was more of a confrontation. Like they were brought to the person that had a grievance, right? They were brought to this person. There was a confrontation, and ultimately, they all met their demise, but they didn't all, I guess, meet their demise the same way. So the hunted, on a private estate for sport could be anything, you know. It could be anything. He could have just been executed immediately after a fiery confrontation, verbal confrontation, or it could have been something else. But in the end, it looks like to me that they're all gone, all three of them, but they were removed from that boat. And this was personal, and it had to do with like some sort of like layered theft or apparent theft. Okay, guys, so thanks for tuning in, and leave your questions below. And I'm going to link the initial video that I saw that brought this case to my attention. Thanks for watching. Be well, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.